Good morning. Please stand for the singing of the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation, which will be sung by the University of Arkansas Schola Cantorum, directed by Dr. Stephen E. Caldwell of the Department of Music.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose first stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? If on this earth I find my voice, let me share it with the voiceless. If on this earth I find great wealth, let me share it with the poor. But if I share one thing on this earth, let it be love. Let it be love. Let it be love.
You may be seated. Members of the Board of Trustees, honored guests, and of course, graduates of the class of 2019, parents and friends of graduates, welcome to our 148th spring commencement. Before I get started here, I know many universities and colleges actually have outdoor graduation ceremonies. Today is one day. I'm glad we're not one of them. We're here to honor individuals who completed the requirements for the degrees that are conferred by our university. And this is the most satisfying event in the life of a university. Today we acknowledge the work of our faculty and above all the achievements of our students who are graduating today. More than 6,000 students will receive degrees on our campus this academic year. Our governing board is composed of 10 distinguished citizens of Arkansas, and I'm pleased to introduce several members of the Board of Trustees who are here with us today. May I request that you hold your applause until all have been presented. Mr. Mark Waldrop of Morrow, Vice Chair. Ms. Kelly Eichler of Little Rock, Assistant Secretary, Mr. Tommy Boyer of Fayetteville, Mr. Steve Cox of Jonesboro, and Dr. Ed Fryer of Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, the University of Arkansas Board of Trustees. And at this time, Mr. Waldrop, Vice Chair of the Board, will now bring greetings from the Board of Trustees and the University of Arkansas system.
Thank you, Chancellor Steinmetz. Well, good morning. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the University of Arkansas system, I bring greetings. And graduates, I bring greetings and congratulations. Congratulations that you've reached this milestone in your academic careers, and you're ready to go out those doors, pursue your course in life, and make your mark on the world. But if I might, today I'd like to take just a moment to challenge you. My challenge is about what I call the human connection. In order to explain that, I'd like to share with you a personal experience from my life. For many years, my family has planned each year a trip to Florida, and it has evolved into an event that involves grandparents, children, and grandchildren, and it's an event that everyone in our family looks forward to. Each morning when I'm there, I like to rise early, and I like to take a walk on the beach, and if one of my grandchildren is available, I like to take a grandchild along. And sometimes we might walk for a quarter mile down the beach and then turn around and come back. Other times we might walk for a mile or more down the beach before we return. But as we walk, we explore. And our footprints in the sand lead to all sorts of discoveries. Jellyfish, seashells, starfish, and an occasional turtle. But on one particular morning, my grandson Austin shared an observation with me that has stuck with me over time. We had completed our walk down the beach and had started to return, and my grandson noticed that our footprints in the sand had been wiped out by the rising waves. And he made the discovery. He came over to me, and in a very secretive voice, he whispered to me, "My name's Chief. Chief, nobody's even going to know that we've been here." And I smiled, and we walked on down the beach. But I've thought often about the words of that child and how they translate to the larger meaning of our lives. All of you graduates are wonderfully prepared to go out and accomplish wonderful things in this world, and you're certainly to be commended for that. But one day, someday, will be your last day here. And when that day comes and goes, the only thing of significance that will remain are the people that you have affected and the lives that you've touched. There are those in this crowd today who've impacted your life. And there will be people who are placed in your lives who you, more than any other person, will have the ability to affect. It may be a family member, a friend, a coworker. It may be a complete stranger. Someone's house burned. Someone's father passed away. Someone's child is different from another child. I would implore you this morning, most times we listen, but we really don't hear. I'd implore you to listen to a person's heart, listen to hear a need, and look for an opportunity to meet a need and to make that human connection. I sincerely hope that your time here at the University of Arkansas has in some way prepared you to do that. If you really want to have an impact in this world, it makes all the difference. Again, on behalf of the University of Arkansas System Board of Trustees, graduates, I congratulate you. I wish you good luck and Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Waldrop. At this time, I'm pleased to introduce several members of the university's administration and faculty. And again, I ask you to please withhold your applause until all of the introductions have been completed. From our campus, first of all, Dr. Fran Hagstrom, Chief Marshal and bearer of the Mace, Associate Professor, Rehabilitation, Human Resources, and Communication Disorders, and Chair of the campus faculty. Dr. Jim Coleman, Provost and Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. Dr. Mark Cochran, Vice President for Agriculture. Lieutenant Colonel Mark Wolf, representing the University of Arkansas Air Force, ROTC. And Major Earl Roloff, representing the University of Arkansas Army, ROTC. Ms. Brandy Cox, Executive Director and Associate Vice Chancellor of the Arkansas Alumni Association. We're also very pleased today to have Dr. Carla Hughes, who's Chancellor of the University of Arkansas at Monticello, and I might add is wearing red shoes today instead of her normal green. We're very fortunate to have with us also Mr. David Peoples and Mr. Jason Shiflett. They will interpret for persons with hearing impairments. Please join me in recognizing these participants in today's ceremony. The University of Arkansas now has the great privilege of conferring 2 honorary degrees. Honorary degrees are conferred upon individuals who have achieved extraordinary distinction in the sciences and law, the arts, a chosen profession, or in public affairs. Recipients of the degrees are exceptional individuals who have demonstrated an appreciation of and a dedication to the ideals and purposes of a university like ours. Born Alvertus Isbell in Brinkley, Arkansas, Al Bell is the former chairman and owner of Stax Records, where he helped chart the direction of American soul music while guiding the careers of iconic performers like Isaac Hayes, the Staple Singers, Sam and Dave, Booker T and the MGs, the Bar-Kays, Otis Redding, and Albert King. And for our younger members of the audience today, it really doesn't get any better than that. Bell has also penned more than 200 songs. Perhaps the best known is I'll Take You There, which became a classic and the first national #1 hit for the Staple Singers. Bell used his innovative promotional and marketing talents to help Hollywood reach an untapped African-American audience for movies like the groundbreaking Shaft. His marketing also helped Isaac Hayes win an Oscar for Best Original Song for the theme from Shaft, and the first African-American to win an Academy Award in a non-acting category. And in 1975, Stax Records was valued by Price Waterhouse at $82 million, making it one of the largest minority-owned businesses in the United States. In the 1980s, Bell served as president of another large minority-owned business, the Motown Records Group. And in the early 1990s, Bell again had his own label called Bellmark. He discovered the music group Tag Team and released Whoomp There It Is, which sold over 5 million copies worldwide. Today, Bell is the chairman and chief executive officer of L. Bell Presents LLC, presenting a unique new paradigm of business innovation within the greater music industry. And in 2011, Bell received the highest honor the music industry bestows, the Grammy's Trustees Award. He has been inducted into 30 halls of fame, including the Arkansas Black Hall of Fame, the Arkansas Business Hall of Fame, the Arkansas Entertainers Hall of Fame, and the official Rhythm and Blues Music Hall of Fame in Clarksdale, Mississippi. Provost Coleman, will you please escort Mr. Bell to the podium? It is now my distinct pleasure and great honor to present Al Bell. For his commitment to the people of Arkansas and for the promotion of the state of Arkansas, it's a privilege for the University of Arkansas to bestow the honorary degree of Doctor of Humane Letters to Al Bell. May I ask Trustee Waldrop to join us at the podium. Mr. Waldrop, it's my privilege to present you Al Bell. He has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees as a recipient of the degree of Doctors of Humane Letters.
For his distinction and exceptional accomplishments as a friend to all Arkansans, and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Arkansas, I confer upon Al Bell the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and admit to you all rights and privileges.
This year, we honor a second remarkable individual. Chris Hinton Lee grew up in rural Mississippi, dreaming of becoming an architect. In pursuit of that dream, she attended the University of Arkansas and in 1975 became the first African-American woman to graduate with a degree in architecture. This was the first of many firsts in her life and in her career, the next of which was becoming the first African-American woman to be licensed as an architect in the state of Maryland. She has had a successful 37-year career in the Army Corps of Engineers, where she was the first woman and the first African-American in virtually every position she attained, including Chief of Architecture, Chief of Design Branch, and Chief of Construction Quality Assurance, Strategic Planner for a District Commander, and co-chair of the Assistant Secretary of the Army's Task Force for Army Family Housing Privatization. Hinton Lee later served as project director in the Corps' Medical Facilities Officer, managing the $1.2 billion budget of that office. She was named Chief of Engineering and Construction at the Transatlantic Center, where she directed a staff of 80 architects and engineers in the design and construction of a multi-million-dollar program in the Middle East, Africa, and Russia. And in 2003, she was selected to the Army's Senior Executive Service, again making her the first African-American female and the first architect to achieve the highest civilian rank. Hinton Lee deployed to Iraq in 2006 to serve as Director of Reconstruction Programs for the Gulf Regions Division, where she directed the efforts of 500 personnel in the execution of the $13 billion Iraq Relief and Reconstruction Fund. For her exemplary service there, she was honored with the prestigious Presidential Rank Award. In 2007, Hinton Lee joined the Corps' South Atlantic Division as Director of Regional Business, responsible for designing and building barracks, hospitals, office buildings, commissaries, and other facilities in 11 major Army posts and 13 Air Force bases in the Southeast. She retired in 2012 and has enjoyed nonstop world travel ever since. For that, I truly envy her. It is my distinct pleasure and great honor to present Wilhelmina Christine Hinton Lee for her commitment to the people of Arkansas and for the promotion of the state of Arkansas. It is a privilege for the University of Arkansas to bestow the honorary degree of Doctor of Arts and Humane Letters to Wilhelmina Christine Hinton Lee. Provost Coleman, will you please escort Ms. Hinton Lee to the podium? And may I ask that Trustee Waldrop join us at the podium? Mr. Waldrop, it's my great pleasure to present to you Wilhelmina Christine Hinton Lee. She has been recommended by the faculty and approved by the Board of Trustees as recipient of the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
For your distinction and exceptional accomplishments as friends to all Arkansans by the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the University of Arkansas, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and admit you to all rights and privilege pertaining thereto.
In addition to receiving an honorary degree, she will also been selected to be tonight's keynote speaker. Chris?
Thank you, Chancellor Steinmetz, Board of Trustees, university staff and faculty, other dais guests, especially my fellow honoree, Mr. Bell, family, friends. Today, I'd like to call your attention to a group who has worked very hard, stayed up late, missing sleep, worrying, and put in tremendous effort getting to this proud day. Of course, I'm referring to the parents of the graduates. Just kidding, graduates. Of course, we thank the parents, but we all couldn't be prouder of you. And I know you're proud of yourselves. And I know you're thankful this day has finally come. And by the way, happy Mother's Day tomorrow to all the mothers in the house. I'm a mother, and I certainly had a special mother, but more on my mother later. I'm proud to be a University of Arkansas graduate, too. Go Razorbacks! I could woo Big Suey with the best of them in my day. And I'm equally proud to be your commencement speaker. So thank you, Dr. Steinmetz, for inviting me. So I have good news and not so good news. The good news is I don't plan to talk long. The not so good news is I don't plan to talk long. Why is that? Because I like to talk. I feel like I have a lot to say. But I know the best commencement speeches are the short ones, so there's that. I've decided the best use of my short time with you this morning is to let you in on my secret to success. You've heard a bit about my story, some from Dr. Steinmetz this morning. And when the university put out its news release on this ceremony today, they called me a pioneering architect. I certainly never set out to be a pioneer, nor did I set out to make history. My success just came to pass through the grace of God, of course, but through the vehicle of this family secret I'm about to share with you, a secret that still guides me to this day. So what is the secret, you ask? I believe I can fly. What did she say? I believe I can fly. So why is that, you ask? It's simple. I believe I can fly because I don't know I can't fly. You see, in the Hinton household growing up, with 5 of us siblings in rural Mississippi, we were not allowed to use that word can't, what we can't do or what we can't become. It was taboo. My mother used to tell us the story of the bumblebee. Okay, by show of hands, How many of you know that a bumblebee cannot fly? Cannot fly. 1, 2, I see a couple were raised by my mother. All the laws of physics and all the aerodynamic studies say that it's impossible in the size of its body in relationship to the size of its wings, itsy bitsy, makes it impossible. The law of physics and the aerodynamic studies all show that, my mother would preach. But then she would add, but the bumblebee doesn't know this. It hasn't read the books or seen the studies, so it just flies all over the place, anywhere it wants to go. The moral of this story is, if you teach a child that she can do something and she doesn't know that she can't, then she can. If he doesn't know that he can't, then he can. And therein lies the secret. Not knowing that you can't do something takes all the fear out of trying it in the first place. Think about that for a moment. If you believed you couldn't fail at something, what would you be willing to try? And if it all starts with a dream, how big would your dreams become if you believed all your dreams would come true? Think about it. So I'm an architect. For as long as I can remember, I have dreamed of being an architect. I'm a chip off the old block, you see. My father wasn't an architect, but he was one of these self-made, self-taught home builder types. And growing up, I would prefer spending time with my father on construction sites in lieu of spending time at home with my mother, say in the kitchen. Consequently, I never learned to cook, but that's a different speech for a different occasion. My path to becoming an architect was a bit roundabout, thanks to a few well-intentioned naysayers along the way. In fact, my bumblebee training suffered a temporary setback because of them, emphasis on temporary. You see, for example, in my high school back in the 60s, girls were not allowed to take shop courses. You know, those building trade courses and mechanical drafting and such. Never mind that I probably could have taught the class with all the good learning I had acquired from my father. I was a girl and therefore forced to take home economics classes, sewing and cooking. And my high school counselor laughed at me when I told her I wanted to be an architect. Of course, this same counselor was known for advising girls that the main reason for them to go to college in the first place was to find a husband. She told me to choose another field since there were no architecture schools anywhere in Mississippi anyhow. Turns out she was correct. Mississippi State had not yet started their program. So I enrolled in a liberal arts state college, and after 3 years of spinning my wheels there, and of course reading everything that I could put my hands on about becoming an architect, I learned that architecture anywhere would be at least 5 years, regardless of the point of entry. So I was there at the liberal arts school, had been there 3 years, but I felt like I was wasting my time. I needed to go get started on my 5 years. When my college advisor heard I was considering transferring out of state, remember Mississippi had no program, and of course, having never left home, it hadn't initially occurred to me to transfer out of state when my high school counselor told me that I couldn't go to school in the state. My advisor learned that I was planning to transfer out of state. She sent for me. See, my advisor knew my parents. My father had built her house some years early. So she felt obligated to save his daughter. After her long lecture to me about how misguided I was. She talked, and I listened and listened, but I think she felt that she was not getting through to me, so she decided to pull out all the stops. And she asked me 3 questions that changed my life. Christine, she asked, why do you believe you can become an architect? But no, except this was Mississippi back in the 60s, so she didn't say architect, she said architect. And so her questions were, number 1, why do you think you can be an architect? She asked. Number 2, do you know any lady architects? She wanted to know. And then the killer of them all, number 3, do you know any colored architects? Now, as I sat there pondering her questions, knowing the answer to both 2 and 3 was no, I felt my bumblebee training swelling up inside me, roaring back to the surface. And then it hit me. At that time, I didn't even know any white male architects. But what in the world did that have to do with me and my dream to become one? So it was that day that I got my bumblebee mojo back. And when I left Dr. Thompson's office, I vowed that I would never again allow facts, circumstances, and especially the will of others to keep me from pursuing my dreams. And folks, I am happy to report that from that day to this, I never have. My bumblebee was back, baby, and it remains with me to this day. So the rest of my story is history. I did transfer here to the University of Arkansas. I completed the 5-year and earned the Bachelor of Architecture degree, graduated in 1975. I accepted a position with the Army Corps of Engineers at their Baltimore district, starting out at the bottom as an intern and finishing at the top as chief architect of the entire Corps of Engineers. I excelled in the Corps because my bumblebee was alive and well throughout those 37 years. This fearlessness enabled me to seek out and master any difficult challenge that came my way, catapulting me to greater and greater heights time and time again. I was known as a trailblazer, a pioneer, if you will, because I was the first in my race and first in my gender to attain top-level positions in the organization. I was even the first architect, you would appreciate this, to reach the level of senior executive service and to receive the Presidential Rank Award, the top honor for civilian service. So you see, graduates, the sky is the limit when you don't acknowledge what you can't do. Remember, if you don't know that you can't, then you can. Now, I've probably reached the end of my allotted time, but I cannot stop talking until I share one more very important story. I hope you'll indulge me just a few more moments. Is that okay, Dr. Steinmetz? Okay, you met my parents earlier in my speech. They're the heroes who tricked their children into fearlessness by making them believe that they had bumblebee prowess. So it wasn't just me, but all 5 of us siblings finished college, a real feat in those days for a poor black family in the rural South. and we all went on to become leaders in our respective fields. Well, my parents were bumblebees too. Once they had gotten us all of their children raised and gone, I was the baby, so I was last. When they were in their 70s, they returned to four-year college themselves, to Mississippi Valley State University. And it was a special time for all of us. They were the oldest kids on campus, of course. And the other students treated them so well. They even voted for them to be Mr. and Mrs. Industrial Arts, my dad's major, and my parents rode on a float in the homecoming parade. Of course, it was role reversal for us Hinton kids, too. We would take turns over the phone, long distance, helping them with their homework. It was our turn to tell them the bumblebee story whenever their studies got rough. And yes, it was complete role reversal because we would also send care packages and money. They graduated with honors when she was 74 and he was 79. Ronald Reagan, who was president at the time, wrote a commendation letter which was read aloud at their graduation ceremony. So how did they do it, you ask? Folks, I've been trying to tell you how. If you teach a child that she can do something and she doesn't know that she can't, then she can. If he doesn't know that he can't, then he can. So graduates, just remember this. If you can dream it, you can have it. Now there's a big old world out there waiting for you. Now go out there and get them. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for those truly, truly inspiring remarks. So the real reason we came today was to confer a few degrees. So we'll now confer degrees upon the candidates. Provost Coleman?
I have to go off script for 1 second. I've got my bumblebee back, and I'm going to dance to I'll Take You There on the stage. But for decorum purposes, I'll just hold that inside. So in presenting the candidates for degrees, each dean will present the candidates from his or her college or school, and because this is a celebration, you should feel fine to wildly cheer. And after this is completed, candidates for all degrees will be asked to rise for the conferring of degrees. Dean D.Q. Fields presents the candidates from the Dale Bumpers College of Agricultural, Food, and Life Sciences.
Dr. Coleman, the candidates who have completed all the requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Agricultural, Food, and Life Sciences, Bachelor of Science in Human Environmental Sciences are recommended by the knowledge cultivating, world-feeding, absolutely fabulous faculty of the Dale Bumpers College of Agricultural, Food, and Life Sciences and presented to you for the conferring of degrees. Thank you.
Dean Peter McKeith presents the candidates from the Fay Jones School of Architecture and Design.
Dr. Coleman, on behalf of the Fay Jones School of Architecture and Design, and inspired by the example of our alumna, Chris Hinton Lee, the candidates who have completed the requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Interior Design, Bachelor of Landscape Architecture, Bachelor of Science in Architecture Studies, and Bachelor of Architecture are recommended to you by the optimistic, constructive, resilient, and absolutely fearless faculty of the school and are presented to you for the conferring of degrees. Thank you, Chris Hinton Lee.
Dean Todd Shields presents the candidates from the J. William Fulbright College of Arts and Sciences.
Provost Coleman, on behalf of the most unsurpassed, the most highly esteemed, and the most likely to become rock stars, faculty in the J. William Fulbright College of Arts and Sciences, it is my pleasure to present the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Social Work.
Dean Matt Waller presents the candidates from the Sam M. Walton College of Business.
Dr. Coleman, the candidates who have completed all requirements for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and Bachelor of Science in International Business are recommended by the most profitable, highest ROI, and most entrepreneurial faculty, and presented to you for the conferring of degrees.
Dean Michael Miller presents the candidates from the College of Education and Health Professions.
Provost Coleman, in behalf of the highly empathetic, world-class, outstanding practitioners who are also the best-looking faculty on campus, the candidates who have completed all the requirements for the Bachelors of Science, the Bachelors of Science in Education, and the Bachelor of Science in Nursing are recommended and presented to you for the conferring of degrees.
Dean John English presents the candidates from the College of Engineering.
Provost Coleman, on behalf of the most talented and collaborative faculty in the SEC, the Big 12, the Big 10, and perhaps the ACC, I'm proud to present to you today the candidates for conferral of degrees in engineering and computer science as printed in your program today.
Dean Margaret McCabe presents the candidates from the School of Law.
Good morning. Dr. Coleman, on behalf of the luminary, and I'm sure you'll find this surprising, loquacious, and sometimes litigious, Faculty of Law, I present to you our candidates for Juris Doctor and Master of Laws, who, after full faculty hearing, have been found guilty of completing their respective requirements with competence and professionalism.
Dean Kim Needy presents the candidates from the Graduate School.
Provost Coleman, those candidates for the master's degrees, the educational specialist, the Doctor of Education, the Doctor of Nursing Practice, and Doctor of Philosophy degrees who have completed all the prescribed requirements are recommended by the extremely dedicated and wicked smart graduate faculty to receive those degrees.
The candidates for all degrees, please rise. Chancellor Steinmetz, it is my greatest privilege to present these candidates to you. On behalf of the faculty, the insanely intelligent, insightful, and occasionally irascible deans, and myself, I recommend that the degrees be conferred upon them as indicated on their diplomas.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Coleman. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree indicated on your diploma with all the rights, all the privileges, and all the responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, graduates. You may be seated. We will now begin the recognition of our graduates, beginning with the hooding of our doctoral recipients.
We will now recognize our doctoral graduates, recipients of our highest degrees. Doctoral graduates, will you and your major advisors please rise? Students, please hand your hood to your major advisor, and perhaps for the first time in your graduate career, turn your back to him or her. Major advisors, please hood your students. Well, you may now congratulate your student once again, and with the audience join me in applauding our newest EDDs and PhDs and DNPs. You may now take your seats. We will now begin the recognition of our graduates. Our first recognition will be for a student who passed away while earning a degree, and his family is here to receive the honorary degree for him. Following that, recognition will be our doctoral degree recipients, followed by specialist degrees and master's degrees. Amanda Cantu and Professors John Clark and Kurt Rome will serve as our announcers.
To accept the degree Master of Science in Microelectronics Photonics awarded posthumously to John Andrew Winkleman are his children Stacy Bell, Ashley Kelsey, and Tyler Winkleman. For the degree Bachelor of Business Administration, John Reed Kilpatrick. Savannah Stagg. For the degree Bachelor of Arts, Matthew Robert Webb. Sarah Catherine Carney. For the degree Doctor of Education, Patrice Tiffany Lachey Bax, escorted by Karsten Schmidtke. Nandra Morrison Campbell, escorted by Ed Bankston. Leanne Danner, escorted by Jack DeVore. Michael Farrell Uten Jr., escorted by Kevin Brady. Chris Aaron Lorsch, escorted by Kevin Resger. Kay Best Murphy, escorted by Kit Kachirik. Dana K. Lewis, escorted by John Pianowski. Joshua Ray, escorted by John Pianowski. Jonathan Paul Lopez, escorted by Michael Hevel. Robert Stagney, escorted by L.J. Shelton. Tanisha Watts, escorted by Vicky Diefendorfer. For the degree Doctor of Nursing Practice, Shaylin Berry, escorted by Mary Lou Shreve. Eveline Grace Bible, escorted by Mary Lou Shreve. Louis Ernest Donofrio Jr., escorted by Martha Butler. Janet Gail Freeman, escorted by Martha Butler. Alicia Gates, escorted by Anna Jarrett. Wendy Joanne Hart, escorted by Anna Jarrett. Haley Duff, escorted by Thomas Kippenbrock. Alan Thomas, escorted by Thomas Kippenbrock. Natasha Clayton, escorted by Kara Osborne. Dankenya Juliette Bew McDavis, escorted by Kara Osborne. Amanda Jane Fruin, escorted by Susan K. Patton. Nene Fortune Ugachukwu, escorted by Susan K. Patton. Alexandra Malone, escorted by Angela Stewart. Jen Matone, escorted by Angela Stewart. Jennifer Miles, escorted by Angela Stewart. Paula Stevens, escorted by Angela Stewart. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Animal Science, Jose Diaz, escorted by Ken Coffey. Valens Niyijina, escorted by Kevin Coffey. Xiao Fan Wang, escorted by Michael Looper. Caleb Wees, escorted by Paul Beck. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Anthropology, Alyssa Michelle Bandy, escorted by Jerome Rose. Heidi Suzanne Davis, escorted by Jerome Rose. Erica Lynn Morey, escorted by Jerome Rose. Mitra Panahipur, escorted by Joanne De La Sara. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration, Mirzo Abdur Rachmanov, escorted by Jason Ridge. Safer Rahman Bhuiyan, escorted by Pankaj Setia. Adam B. Booker, escorted by Vernon Richardson. Yanji Dwan, escorted by John Aloysius and Christian Hoffer. Dinesh Hasija, escorted by Alan Elstrand. Patrick Lee Hopkins, escorted by TJ Atwood. Jeffrey Mullins, escorted by Rajiv Sabharwal. Jacqueline Tilton, escorted by Jennifer Kish Gephardt and John Johnson. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Biology, Nawaf Al-Shamari, escorted by Stephen Stevenson. Siti Aisha Bustamante Macabago, escorted by Stephen Stevenson. Jacqueline Guzzi, escorted by John D. Wilson. Julie Ann Starling, escorted by Christian Tipsmark. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Cell and Molecular Biology, Kelsey Dawn Brown, escorted by David McNabb. Aaliyah Parveen, escorted by David McNabb. Surah Farah Salih Zaki, escorted by David McNabb. Lafreda Janae Howard, escorted by Timothy Evans. Jijian Hu, escorted by Timothy Evans. Kevin Roberts, escorted by Jamie Hestican. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Chemistry, Famita Afroz, escorted by Roger Kepi. Matthew McKay, escorted by Roger Kepi. Jessica B. Pickens, escorted by Wesley Stites. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Comparative Literature and Cultural Studies, Hamid Mahmoud Ala Almat, escorted by Luis Fernando Restrepo. Raquel Castro Salas, escorted by Luis Fernando Restrepo. Charlene Marie Ingerson, escorted by Jennifer Hoyer. Hashi J. Singh, escorted by Sydney Burris. Tree Murniati, escorted by Yahida Padilla. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Counselor Education, Giheen Ayadi, escorted by Kristen Higgins. Julie Christine Hill, escorted by Kristen Higgins. Alexandra Myers, escorted by Kristen Higgins. West Loveland, escorted by Kristen Higgins. Cameron Hewen, escorted by Christy Perryman. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, Sarah Reeves Fredrickson, escorted by Laura Kent. Shay Hopper, escorted by Jason Endicott. Jennifer Jennings Davis, escorted by Christian Gearing. Odelia Mitre, escorted by Christian Gearing. Allison Carnes, escorted by Elizabeth Laura. Sylvia Imanda, escorted by William McComas. Jennifer Faith Dugdale Oramus, escorted by William McComas. Tabitha Teal, escorted by William McComas. Haura Nafa Hamid Al-Zuwain, escorted by Felicia Lincoln, diploma presented by Adnan Al-Rubaye. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Public Policy, Samantha Juncia Julian, escorted by Felicia Lincoln and Tom Smith. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Curriculum and Instruction, Anna Kristen Bensinger, escorted by Tom Smith. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Public Policy, Richard L. Moss, escorted by Brink Kerr. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Economics, Aaron Novotny, escorted by Andrea Savelli. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Education Policy, Heidi Holmes Erickson, escorted by J.P. Green. Angela R. Watson, escorted by J.P. Green. Elise Swanson, escorted by Hema Zamaro. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Engineering, Muthana Abdul Karim Hassan Al-Saray, escorted by Roy McCann. Khalid Salim Al-Harbi, escorted by Roy McCann. Keith R. Berry Jr., escorted by David Ford. William Boyan, escorted by Pat Parkerson. Obaid Aldosari, escorted by Juan Carlos Balda. Luciano Garcia Rodriguez, escorted by Juan Carlos Balda. Aram Marley Morales Vega, escorted by Andrew Braham. Nidal Azawi, escorted by John Gouch. Laura Marie Streeter, escorted by John Gouch. Yuswan Chiao, escorted by Ranil Wickramasinghe. Moanad Kamaz, escorted by Ranil Wickramasinghe. Lai Ching-gang, escorted by Miao-Xing Huang. Charlie DeStefano, escorted by David Jensen. Joseph Hill, escorted by Paul Millett. Gershagen Kandola, escorted by Jin Woo Kim. John Taiwan Kim, escorted by Jeffrey Walchuk. Kevin LaBille, escorted by Susan Gouch. Jingming Leo, escorted by Hei Tao Liao. Huiyan Lee, escorted by Kelly Sullivan. Gage Greening, escorted by Timothy Muldoon. Amy Jacqueline Powless, escorted by Timothy Muldoon. Sean Zhao, escorted by Alan Mantooth. Sean Elliott Salazar, escorted by Richard Kaufman. Eddie Diong Nose Owu Udofia, escorted by Win Chao Cho. Shutting Chin, escorted by Shang Hong Kwan. Namila, escorted by Xiang Hong Xian. Trent Rogers, escorted by Matthew Padditz. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in English, Sam Morris, escorted by David Jolliffe. Nathan John Hayden, escorted by Joshua Smith. Nathan Fayard, escorted by Joshua Smith. Timothy James Nelson, escorted by Joshua Smith. Mary Kate Messimer, escorted by Robin Roberts. Layla Sadiq-Begi, escorted by Robin Roberts. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Dynamics, Jason Burgess Conforti, escorted by David Miller. Michelle Megan Rathgaber, escorted by George Sabo. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Food Science, Jeffrey Clark, escorted by Philip Crandall. Shilpa Samant, escorted by Han-Suk Su. Shantae Wilson, escorted by Griffiths Atungulu. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Geosciences, Joshua Blackstock, escorted by Philip Hayes. Panayotis Yiannakis, escorted by Jackson Cothran. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in History, Jama McMurtry Grove, escorted by Jeannie Wayne. Rebecca Ozell McMillan, escorted by Lawrence Hare. Bethany Henry Rosenbaum, escorted by Daniel Sutherland and Elliot West. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Health, Sport, and Exercise Science, Aaron Caldwell, escorted by Matthew Gagnon. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Kinesiology, Lisa Teshorvin Jansen, escorted by Stavros Kavouras. Huang Yu Se, escorted by Stavros Kavouras. Tariq Al-So Karan, escorted by Dean Gorman. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Microelectronics Photonics, Ahmad Aziz Darwish, escorted by Joseph Herzog. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Mathematics, Razia Shahriari, escorted by Bernard Madison. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Microelectronics Photonics, Stephen P. Miner, escorted by Gregory Salamo. Sudeep Nepal, escorted by Pradeep Kumar. Morgan Andrew Roddy, escorted by Adam Huang. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Philosophy, Sam Noel Johnson, escorted by Richard Lee. Andrew John Kirshner, escorted by Thomas Sr. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Physics, Sean Namoto, escorted by Surendra Singh. Balakrishnan Viswanathan, escorted by Julio Banacloshi. Raymond Thomas Walter, escorted by Laurent Belache. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Plant Science, Marcio Zaccarone, escorted by John Roop. Douglas J. Aldridge, escorted by Michael Kidd. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Poultry Science, Lacey Butler, escorted by Michael Kidd. Joshua R. Dinas, escorted by Samuel Rochelle. Katie Michelle Hilton, escorted by Craig Kuhn. Kintu R. Lassiter, escorted by Walter G. Bocci. Sarah Orlowski, escorted by Nicholas Anthony. Bill Douglas Potter, escorted by John Marcy. Deepthi Pranay Samarth, escorted by Young Min Kwan. Sandeep Shrestha, escorted by Dan Donahue. For the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology, Elizabeth Anastasia, escorted by Anna J. Bridges. Aubrey Dewicki, escorted by Anna J. Bridges. Sarah Ann Bilski, escorted by Ellen Lean Feldner. Alexander Melkonian, escorted by Lindsay Ham. Carmen Merrick Hollis, escorted by Denise Bikey. Brittany Nicole Race, escorted by James Lampinen. Sasha Michaela Rojas, escorted by Matthew Feldner. Ramon Simchi Gross, escorted by David Schrader. Kayla Skinner, escorted by Jennifer Valou. Rachel Stevens, escorted by Douglas Barind. Sarah Takeo Port, escorted by Vincent Chevrier.
For the degree Education Specialist, Christy Mellon. Andrew Schrader. For the degree Master of Accountancy, Samantha Nicodemus, escorted by Carla Hughes, Chancellor of the University of Arkansas, Monticello, and Samantha's aunt. Quinn Stanglin. For the degree Master of Art, Britton Andrus. Gracie Bain. Jean Hugh Betamene. Marshall Bolin. Kandija Bouchela. Diana Cascante. Shelby Lynn Clark. Stacy L. Cordell. Devin Renee Cosper. J.C. Cruz. Cody Darst. Diana Elizabeth Dominguez Gomez. Callie Spear Embry. Andrew Epperson. Tiffany Michelle Fields. Whitney Raquel Frierson. Cesna Garcia Rios. Jordan Garrett. Nia Imani Gibson. Aaron Gloucester. Adriana Gordillo Barona. Emily Renee Holmes. Denzel Jenkins. Victoria Ann Jones. G.S. Uden Khan. Carlos Andreas Laberde Mosquera. Tui Li Fong Vong. Stephanie Marie Long. Chris Main. Mohammed Lamin Marak. Ana Sofia Mendoza Duran. Leah Harrison Nagel. Jennifer Patel. Valeria Pirola Suzuki. Haley Madison Pullen. Ariel Romero. Casey Cuvion Sisson. Paulina Subchak. Alexandra Jean Stassen. Dushan Stoyanovich. Taylor Strickland. Andrew Dawson Vigay. Dale Harris Zagleski. Phyllis Lebert. For the degree Master of Arts in Teaching, Tori Ann Allred. Carson Lee Bear. Brittany Bashirs. Shannon Elizabeth Burkhoff. Danielle Campbell. Kevin Clausen. Natalie Davey. Rachel Audrey Davis. Bailey Shiner. Miranda Escamilla. Carly Riggins. Rachel Ann Evans. Cody Faulkner. Mary Catherine Flannery. Jessica Fulliam. Claire Alanis Green. Corey Marie Green Martin. Sarah Caroline Halford. Kaylee Hamilton. Margaret Hegarty. Arlene Hernandez, Shannon Marie Hulsey, Nicholas Carl Jordan, Corella Kordsmeyer, Meredith Elena Joyce Cresson, Ashley Lane, Morgan Lee, Carly Ann Liggett, Joanna Elizabeth Lovern, Allison Loy, Montana McCoy, Chloe Nanos, Abby Neighbors, Paige Norbeck, Leslie Oropeza, Autumn Kaylee Piercy, Leslie Pervier, Auburn Kylie Jackson, Aaron Phelan, Jordan Price, Rochelle Quintanilla, Hannah LaRue, Zachary Rankin, Catherine Christine Rimbold, Samantha Megan Sagely, Emma Grace Sarkar, Ann Schneck-Snyder, Casey Self, Courtney Sprague, Casey Stark, Clayton McPherson Taylor, Caroline Wilborn, Madeline Page Williams, Shelby Reagan Wood. For the degree, Master of Athletic Training, Taylor Bowker, Angelique Blair Carmachet, Ryan Collins, Cody Deerdorf, Ellie Dinkmeyer, Brittany Nicole Fortenberry, Preston Alexander Gibbs, Colin Glennie, William Taylor Lee Hanna, Ikuo Keto, Matthew Richard McCarthy, Brianna Moltz, Georgia Marcina Louise Sanders, Mitchell Skinner, Bria Stanley Corsi, Elizabeth Bacon Studdard, Heather Troxler, Ileana Teresa Valaquez, Tori Walter. For the degree, Master of Business Administration, Mitch Heiser, David Kirk, Ashley Renee Murrow. For the degree, Master of Education, Skylar Bryn Ames Patton, Mark Bagwell, Allison Ballou, Jamie Renee Boris, Michelle Stroman Bell, John R. Benedict, Natalie Borozdina, Ali Nicole Bryan, Joel Michael Bueller, Cameron Keja, Peter Kania, Haley Lynn Carney. Megan Dean. Lily Ann Dickard. Wesley Deers. Kayla Dornblazer. Ian Emery. Liza Justine Irwin. Grace Flowers. Ryan Bailey French. Guljahan Kachova. Emma Lee Hammonds. Brooklyn Elizabeth Hanna. Serena Herr. Sonia Hernandez. Shelby Hires. Robin Hill. Andrea Howard. Lucinda Lee Howard. Lauren Hughes. Stephanie Kessler. Daniela Kidd. Molly Lauren Kinder. Carla McGarren. Sarah Mullett. Kimberly Ann McCumber. Lily Sage McCoy. Dilla Taranda Miller. Brent Mitchell. Selena Mitchell. Leah Morozinski. Cy Nobles. Shengyu Pan. Emily Ann Patterson. Rachel Patton. Thomas Proctor. Morgan Lynn Pulliam. Catherine Elizabeth Reed. Ariana Len Reynolds. Brooke LeBlanc Reynolds. James Saha. Jennifer Sadler. Lauren Schulterman. Robert Walter Scott III. Lauren Elizabeth Selby. Paige Surzin. Shaynee Sullivan. April Taylor. Elizabeth Tipton. Joshua Tipton. Justin Wimberly. Robert E. Yancey. For the degree Master of Fine Arts, Austin Dean Ashford. Molly Elizabeth Armour. Eric Armstrong. Natasha Devon Barron. Catherine Blencow. Jesse Greenhill. Misha Hutchings. Jennifer Bailey Hutchinson. Kelsey Looney. Sam Mack. Justin Mackey. Hallie Mayo. Tanner Neal McAlpin, Hannah Thomas Moore McBroom, Melissa Rooney, Scott Nicholas Russell, Jody Travis Thompson, Biacenta Ricardo Yepez, Chase Young. For the degree Master of Music, Denise Atkins, Morgan Sage Kavanaugh, Caroline Elizabeth Colicaro, Deborah Elizabeth Ellis, Cody James Hutchinson, Jackie Ann Lynch, Blake Maternak, Colby T. Palmore, Timothy J. Pardue, Sarah Lynn Remoy, Ismalima Serrano, Lauren Shepard, Sungmo Yang.
For the degree of Master of Science, Hazim Sadoun Al-Jawari, Mahad Al-Khatini, John Allard, Mislat Al-Taibi, Rebecca Anderson, Mary Ashley, Marianne Babb, Galen Bahadur Singh, Justin Bailey, Rebecca Mawusi Bruce, Mandy E. Beck, Allison Ruth Braggs, Wade Alexander Boys, Christopher Bottoms, Aaron Bodie, Alicia Black, Kayla Nicole Birmingham, Tarana Tasman Bipasha, Leslie Colleen Beer, Heather Washington Becker, Rachel Ricka Beck, Tara Leanne Esparza, Emily Brianne Bates, Danielle Elena DeCarlo, Puhitha Bagmuali, Christopher G. Cowan, Maxwell David Coffin, Ogudel Simone Kojo, Sarah Cleary, Megan Clark, Iran Chin, Zhang Zhuan, India Simone Callahan, Olivia Caluette, Sonia Corrales Spilak, Claire Elizabeth Busler, Cameron Bruner, Savannah Ray Graham, Ethan Gentry, Christian Ivan Garcia, Mariana Gandarelias, Lindsay Rochelle Gabbard, Atimkin Faring, Emily Fletcher. Sarah Kate Finley. William Robert Fink. Jordan M. Faulkner. Christian Jabril Frelzone. Kirsten Renee Dunlap. Wallison Dominguez. Catherine Elizabeth Dobbins. Shavani Rajkumar Ngale. Huang Huang. Joseph Zoltan Hiltz. Patterson Perez Hilaire. Taylor Herbst. Zhao Yao Ho. Afton Baird Ham. Holly Joe Hackworth. Ashley Grigsby. Lisa Griggs. Ashley Marie Gray. Ryan Grant. Naomi Shure Gillette. Jessica Post Gold. Cameron Joanne Nickmard. Kristen Nagy. Jameson Murray. Rosa Moreno. Carly Adele Moore. Leighton Denman McCullers. Manisha Reddy Maram. Michelle Lynn Ledoux. Stephanie Lampman. Sarah Kuchabeg. John Scott Bidwell Kelly. Ala Kawagi. Nicholas W. Jones. Erin Jones. Miranda Jackson. Deonna Nicole Robertson. Emily Leah Richter. Lindsay Denise Richards. Kayla Marie Reuter. Christina Rayleigh. Kira Quiros. Stephen Marcus Puente. Philip Powell. Marlena Andrea Pilacompe. Bailey Rose Pearson. Michaela Patterson. Ryan Orr. Gloria Osothe Okapu. Cameron Ojeda. Joshua Kyle Stevens. Janita Springfield. Brooks Smolinsky. Spencer Allen Smith. Sarah Elizabeth Shetty. Diara J. Smith. Asmita Singh. Michelle Sargente. Stuart P. Rumrell. Catherine Avero Trinberry. Robert Edward Rosine. Whitney Lynn Rook. Ricardo Del Romo. Catalina Rodriguez. Sarah Andrea Robinson. Lobsong Wamongbo. Simbo Christoph Wakima. Benjamin Wadsworth. Maxwell von Krizoff. Samantha Valdez. Hakan Unferan. Laura Tolosa. Danielle N. Thompson. Whitney Tomlinson. Colson Tester. Julie Nicole Tuhum. Colton R. Tikel. Suzanne Laura Swindle. Logan Matthew Sublett. Griffin W. Warner. Sarah West. Catherine Wilkinson. Carrie Brianne Wilson. Venus Wilson. Matthew Joseph Wood. Wapara Wantanyarat. Hua Zong. Master of Science in Biological Engineering, America Sotero Hernandez. Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering, Ale Ala Louie. Rohel Vadlaramani. Master of Science in Computer Engineering, Brendan McGeehan. Master of Science in Computer Science, Michael Sharp. Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Himal Falek. Rafael Alejandro Franceschi Fuentes. Kifan Guo. Master of Science in Engineering, Clark Hibbard. Jamal King. William Edward Stephen Ross. Master of Science in Industrial Engineering, Ron Arulselve Ravichandran. Braden James. Ale Quizara. Master of Science in Operations Management, Caleb Alexander Barker. Matthew J. Begin. Nushin Binmanian. Chad Jeremy Cox. Roneshu Leve Forrest. Lauren Gill. Ryan Hammett. Brennan Heil. Sean Johnson. Belton Kennedy Jr. Gulshad Karbayave. Matthew John Martinson. Courtney Christopher Miller. Nugin Don Fawn. Stephen James Piastu. Barrett Reed. Mark Somerville. Timothy Lee Spear. J.C. Thompson. Nicholas Tidwell. Keith Urbanski. Sean Brittenham Williams. Laura Ann Yarbrough. Master of Science in Social Work, Alina Anima. Laura Carpenter. Helen Cheek. Taylor Morgan Christian. Kaylin Elizabeth Klein. Catherine Elizabeth Day. Molly Jane Eccles. Madison Nicole Edwards. Alisa Godou. Ashley Graham. Margot Gaston. Madison Karn. Margot Leota Lee. Corey Lighton. Amy Lukier. Sarah Leanne Malmo. Hannah Morgan Martin. Ellie Renee Mobley. Emily Elizabeth Nutt. Reina Alejandra Olivo. Kimberly Ann Osei. Kelsey Thomas. Madeline Aline Micah. Lindsay Parker. Ashley Megan Perkins. Adam Nathaniel Persinar. Christian Province Harmon. Jessica Reinhardt. Ashlyn Mary Smith. Jenny Shaw. Madeline Claire Spence. Last one. And our most important graduate, Jessica Hope Taylor. Our absolute most important, Ryan Smith. Sorry.
Again, I want to take this time and congratulate each one of our graduates. We're extremely proud of you. There are as many paths to graduation as there are graduates here today. A college education is much about learning a discipline as learning about yourself, what you value, what you're passionate about, and where you want to go. And ultimately, the sense of accomplishment is proportional to the challenges that you've actually faced. So let me recognize just a couple of our graduates who had a slightly steeper hill to climb than most of their fellow students. And I want to start with Raymond Walter. Some of you may recognize his name because 6 years ago, Raymond was featured in one of the university's very first short take videos. He was featured because he was graduating with a BS in mathematics, physics, and economics at the age of 18. That's right. He was graduating with a triple major before most kids his age had taken their very first college class. You see, Raymond graduated high school at the age of 14, finished his economics courses his freshman year, and was already working on graduate level courses by his sophomore year. This is all the more remarkable due to the fact that Raymond has had to overcome some very serious physical disadvantages. He has Duchenne muscular dystrophy, a form of muscular dystrophy in which the muscles weaken and waste away. This disease affects 1 in out about every 3,600 male infants, and most must use a wheelchair by age 12. Breathing difficulties and heart disease usually start by age 20. I'm going to quote from what Raymond stated in that interview. He said, I quote, "I don't anticipate living as long as usual." And he further went on to say, in some respects, there's a lot of pressure to get as much done as I can. I don't waste time. He sure didn't. As both a distinguished doctoral fellow and National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship recipient, he has made extraordinary use of his time. As physics professor Dr. Laurent Bollèche remarked, and I quote from Dr. Bollèche, "If you combine someone who's smart and who works hard, you get someone quite exceptional." That's Raymond Walter. Today, Raymond earned a PhD in physics, the first of 2 PhD he is working towards. He still has a little more work to do on his PhD in mathematics, but I'm sure we'll soon be seeing him here again soon. So congratulations to you, Raymond. And thank you for enriching the University of Arkansas. The second student is Ito Autini. Some of you may be familiar with her from some interviews she did on UATV and KUAF. Ito was born in Morocco. When she was a child, her mother died and her father abandoned her to relatives. For the next 10 years, she was shuttled between extended family members working as domestic help until she was physically assaulted by an aunt who blinded her. She was homeless for a time after that, eventually enrolling in a school for the blind at the age of 17. And prior to that, she was illiterate. After she graduated high school, she went to college where she studied English. While there, someone told her about the Moroccan-American Commission for Educational and Cultural Exchange, which facilitates academic exchange between the U.S. and Morocco. Ito ended up coming to Arkansas on a Fulbright scholarship in 2017, in large part because the University of Arkansas was the University of J. William Fulbright. In a blog post for Fulbright Scholars Program, she wrote, and I quote from her, "I feel like I'm motivated to leave a legacy behind me just as Senator J. William Fulbright did. Many people know that he died more than 22 years ago, but in my opinion, he's still alive and he will never die. Thinking about him and what he has done will never fade away." And speaking of her time here, she went on to say, "It was hard for someone like me who was neglected to believe that love and friendship exist, but I know it does because of my friends and family in Arkansas." Ito's childhood dream was to study English and to become a journalist. Today, she took another huge step towards furthering those dreams as she earned a master's in journalism. She plans to enter a PhD program sometime in the future and perhaps work for an NGO until then. As she says, and I quote, She wants to be a voice for the voiceless. So congratulations to you, Ito. Ito, both you and Raymond underscore the virtues of perseverance through difficulty, and for that you have my utmost respect. And finally, I also want to recognize our graduates' parents and spouses and partners and family members whose patience, support, and prayers have brought you to this point. Graduates, please show your appreciation for these very special people. And there's another group of people whom I'd like to congratulate for helping you earn your degrees, our outstanding faculty. I know they made a difference in your lives. May I ask the faculty of the University of Arkansas to please stand and be recognized. Now let me invite Director of the Arkansas Alumni Association, Brandy Cox, to say just a few brief words. Brandy?
Thank you, Chancellor. On behalf of the Arkansas Alumni Association, I congratulate you on joining the ranks of more than 156,000 Arkansas alumni living around the world. As your time as students comes to a close, your time as alumni is just beginning, and you are forever a Razorback. There are important opportunities as alumni I'd like you to embrace. Please stay connected to the University of Arkansas wherever you are. There are alumni chapters throughout the United States, alumni societies, and international alumni groups that offer events and programming to help you engage with each other and the university. And stay involved with this great community you joined today. And yes, we do have an app for that, so be sure and download it, or follow our new program on Instagram just for you, our recent graduates, which is Beyond the Hill. I want to thank our National Alumni Board President, Tina Gunter, for being here and greeting you as you came off stage today to welcome you to the Alumni Association. Finally, your name will soon be engraved on Senior Walk, making you part of a unique tradition of our campus. Congratulations, my fellow alumni.
Thank you, Brandy. We have many recognition ceremonies being held today, and you'll find a schedule of ceremonies held by each college and school in the commencement program. Before we close, I'd like to thank Amanda Cantu, Dr. John Clark, and Dr. Kurt Rome for announcing all of your names today. And I'd also like to thank the faculty, the staff, and volunteers and musicians who had a role in today's ceremony, including the University Wind Symphony, directed by Christopher Knighton, and the Schola Cantorum, directed by Dr. Stephen E. Caldwell. Thank you. And now may I ask everyone to please stand for the alma mater and recessional march before exiting Walton Arena through the east and west doors. Again, my heartiest congratulations to all of our graduates. Congratulations.